That it?
Hey everyone. Hey, okay. I need to check one thing else there out real quick. Okay, that's there. I got one other thing I need to check really quick here.
No, mind you guys, he's been saying that for the last 10 minutes, okay? He's always got one more thing to check.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, we're good here. All right, so let me go to the comments, and we got 18 comments in there that I haven't seen. Been busy. Got Ontario Homestead said to be back, and we got Will's here. Buddy Nash is here. Will is just in time prepping people. We got Brent and Cindy's Tennessee Living. Lori Jean's here. Creative Redundancy is here. Grumpy's Gaming. That's another clone. We got Michael 58 and Ontario Homestead made it back in. All right.
All right, hold on. I got to do this because such an issue was made about it. I'm going to share something. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Not a problem.
All right, share that.
Share that. Okay. Gotta make that bigger. I gotta make that bigger. Okay. So that looks like a chocolate cake, and
your heart's out. That's mine.
Yeah, and that was made by somebody else in the side chat here who made it for him.
We won't discuss Lori's name. I mean, oops.
And we'll say she's from Canada. Oops. Okay. So, Grow Where Your Planet is in here. All righty. So,
Ontario made it back. Welcome.
Good. So the theme topic, whatever you want to call it for today, is just lost it here. How much is enough? Dealing with food storage, water storage, other supply storage, and what you need to get by. Now, one of the things that I have found out when I've been looking around, you can go online and you can Google. Let me drop this down here first, and you can Google and throw that up. Come on. There it goes. Food storage calculators. And you get all these different ones from different places. And I found some discrepancies in it, some major discrepancies in a few of them. So I want to cover that first. If you guys are using these online calculators to help figure out your food storage, the first one I'm going to go to is actually the best one. Okay. And this is at Provident Living. And the same food storage is also the same one used on the LDS Self-Reliant website. And so basically, let me go a little bit bigger here for a second here, guys. Get over here, enlarge it. Okay. So you put in here the number of weeks you want to calculate for, whether it's, 4 weeks, 12 weeks, 32 weeks, or 52 weeks, or 104 weeks, whatever. The number of adults, 12 and older, number of children, under 12, and then you hit calculate. Well, for this, for grains, and grains include wheat, white rice. Let me enlarge this other page here. Hang on one second while I enlarge this up, because even for me, it's getting a little hard to read. There we go. That's a little bit better. Includes wheat, white rice, oats, corn, barley, pasta, etc. All right. 3,400 pounds for 10 people, 6 adults, 4 children for a year. These other ones, when I put in And go ahead and enlarge this one too a little bit, make it easier to read here. And I put in the same thing, except this one goes ages 7 instead of ages 12.
Hello, Kathy. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Kathy. You're working? All righty. Thanks for stopping in. So on this calculator, the total for grains is $23.95. Pasta, rice, oats, cornmeal, flour. Okay, but let me go back to the other one. The other one was 34.23, almost 24, 1,000 pounds off. If I'm going to store, I don't want to be using this one because everything else is, with the exception of dairy, is shorter. Comes up short.
Your mic is acting up.
Huh?
Your microphone or something is acting up. You're blurping.
I'm blurping.
You're blurping.
Maybe I should talk softer.
No, I think it's because of your the web pages you have open. They're all trying to activate at the exact same time.
Okay.
And look in the private chat.
All right. See. Will's looking for a link. Okay. All right. I'll give it to him in just a second here.
I'll just forward it to him off mine.
All right.
Will, go check your email in about 30 seconds.
Yeah. So, so basically, this one here is short on the grains, and it's short in a couple others, and it's high on the dairy. This other one I found. Let me enlarge that just a little bit too. Same thing. 6 adults, 4 children. Comes up with the same as that other one, short. And they all reference the other one. So they did something to their calculations to tweak it a little bit. And it came up almost.
Uh-oh, folks. I think we lost him. Yep, I think we lost him. So while he's gone, should we tell jokes about him? Rolling Homestead, that is not good to hear. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Keep your head on a swivel and pay attention to what's going on. Lori, it wasn't the aliens. It was the ABC group. They found out he had a secret underground bunker somewhere full of supplies and they want it. Yep, his internet pooped out again. So let's just give him a minute. He'll come back. So in the side chat, like he said, and we'll go ahead and start discussing it until he gets back, how much is too much or enough? You know, a lot of us here have 6 months to a year, some of us more, some of us less. That doesn't make any one of us right or wrong. It is what we've been able to deal with and do with what we have. Hey, MOI. Hey, Uncle. Hey, Blue Healer. Hey, Ryan. And everybody else. But some people have a tendency to knock others when they don't have as much as they do. And there is, unfortunately, quite a few YouTube channels out there that do that. Oh, if you ain't got this, you're no good, or you're not good enough. And yeah, don't listen to that kind of hyperbole. Do what you can with what you have. If you're on a limited income, then find things that you can afford to get extra of. Now, don't sit there and think, oh my God, I gotta go out and buy that $2,500 worth of survival food on payment plan because I gotta have it. Well, if you can't swing it, then don't do it. Okay. You're rolling. That is what I've heard as well. Yeah, it's party time. Just remember to, all right, stop the party, guys. He's back.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. So everyone, what happened is this happened the 5th time today. We have cable one internet. It got out by that cheap blankety blank foreign-based company called Sparklight. Their service sucks worse than a clogged up vacuum cleaner.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's my problem. I have horrific internet out here. I'm working on trying to find a better service provider. I think I finally found one. It's just a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
It really stinks in the smaller towns because I like the quiet life. You really are limited in a couple ways. So I mean, that's one of the downsides of being a smaller town is you really have bad internet options sometimes.
Yeah. All right. So let me get back to what I was saying before here. Catch up. Hopefully, you all had fun with Dave while I was gone. And no. All right. Okay, and hang on, adding Will in here. All right, so this site here and this Food Guys, they come up short on a lot of the stuff they put in there, except for the dairy. The dairy they have the proper. Now this one here, this is for a place. Basically, they'll tell you what you need to get in the cans, in the number 10 cans.
Hey, Jerry.
So. But that's one of the sites. Let me kill that one. So we're not dealing that. This one here is a little bit shorter, but I mean, they have nice graphics and stuff, and and they break stuff out a little bit more down into like for all your sugars, powdered fruit drink mix, poisons. I mean, Kool-Aid, jams, syrup, molasses, brown sugar. This one here for the sugars. Where is it here? Sugars. Yeah, it does basically the same thing. Powdered fruit drink, aka Kool-Aid. But my personal favorite, which I've used for decades, is the one in the Provident Living one, and it actually it gives you lists more for the different things than what the other ones do. And I'd rather have extra in my food storage than not enough. What about you guys?
I ran out of space.
You ran out of space.
Literally, I literally have no space left. All my cupboards are filled. My closets are filled. I have no more space. And I still don't feel I have enough.
Yeah.
It's
Reed?
not because it's some other place that I needed it. It's just my feeling.
Reed, which you'd rather have, too much or not enough?
I'm on the too much side, but actually on the flip side of that, for me, as I started stocking up and stuff, and moving on to the multiple years, what really started hitting me hard was, if we're going to be planning, well, for me, if I'm going to be planning to, make it through and go beyond that, it's more of the rebuild. Moves to the idea of being able to provide for myself, grow what I need and everything else. So it's a lot of my thinking's evolved into, very much homesteading. So it's enough buffer to get to the point where I can set up enough farming and everything else to provide for myself. Haven't figured it all out. Still researching everything and learning and growing stuff, making new gardens, having things fail horribly and figuring it out. But that's sort of my thinking now is it's enough to buffer you through crop failures and then to get you to where you're providing enough for yourself. And of course, the people around you that are going to set up with you and everything else.
Yeah. That's I think that's part of the important stuff is to make sure you have enough, to count on growing food and not just on what you have stored, thinking that in case there is an emergency, that everything's going to come back up right away. Because even if it's not a SHTF or an end of the world as we know it, a Tawaki situation, it could still take, a couple weeks or a couple months for the supplies to get moving again to the area that you're in. Like, all right, Katrina, followed by Rita, 1-2 punch.
Well, then, like Puerto Rico, Maria, even with all of the U.S. able to help support and get that going, it took, 7 months to get the power grid going? Jeez.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that could happen where you could have national scale or continental wide disasters. And I just don't see supplies coming quickly at all. I really don't. I could see you having to take care of everything for several years.
Yeah. So, guys, before I forget, I'm going to throw into the chat here the link to the Provident Living food calculator. And that gives you a better idea of what you need to have on hand. And what's neat about it is, let me throw it back up here again real quick. On the top here, on this one, the others you can't do this. This one you can take and say, no, I want to know how much I'm going to need 3 months. That's about 13 weeks. And calculate. And it tells you what you need for 13 weeks. You notice it's dropped down from 3,400 down to 860. So yeah, you can put in the number of weeks you want, half a year, 26 weeks. Watch the number there change when I hit calculate. Boom. And if you want to know, all right, I want 36. Not 30, 36. Okay, that's anyways 12. Yeah, 52 times. No, it's going to be more than that. All right, I'm going brain dead here. 3 years would be that'd be 6, and then it would be 156 weeks.
Is the water they're showing in that the water for the food, or there's no way it's for people to be drinking.
Oh, down at the bottom here?
Yeah.
Okay. There's an asterisk next to it, or here, and you go down to the bottom here. It says the amount of water shown is minimal 2-week supply.
Okay, I got it.
That gives you got to do your own math on that to figure out your supply off of what this is showing, what 10 people would need for 2 weeks. And this is not toilet water. This is not shower water. This is eating and cooking water, and not doing the dishes water.
You're a pain.
What's the daily calorie intake this is calculated on? Do you know, Gil?
No, I don't. But the fact that the numbers on this one, like for the grains, is higher than on the others, this is probably calculated on you getting your butt out of the chair, going outside, working, trying to plant a garden, trying to take care of stuff. You're not sitting around going, oh me, oh my, I'm just going to sit here and live off my food till the government comes to help.
Yeah.
Did I get too sarcastic there?
No, but I mean that's always yeah, I just divided this out because like I did like one for myself and divided it out, and based on the number of buckets, the average weight of them and stuff, it looks like it's about a 2,400. That's my guess.
Yeah, I'm
guessing it's around 2,400. But yeah, I mean that's the biggest rant. Sorry, I got a quick rant, guys. That's the biggest gripe I have on a lot of the emergency food supplies you see sold all the time is they're only like 1,200 calories a day, and that's just like nothing. That's
barely surviving.
No, in a grid down situation, it's already proven the average person, even a person that's not in shape, is going to burn 3,500 or 3,800 calories a day just trying to survive. Getting materials for fire, building things. A person that's not in shape actually is going to wind up burning more calories because they're actually going to start burning fat. So you're actually eating 2 of those dehydrated meals in order to survive. So therefore, you're cutting yourself in half.
Yeah, a lot of those ones you see, emergency food storage, they're those buckets or whatever, and it's like it's 2 weeks supply, and you look at it, and it's only like 1,200 calories a day or something horrible.
Yeah. One of the things to consider for some of the people out here in the side chat, the homesteaders and stuff, they're out working in their yards. They got chores to do. They're doing stuff all the time already, So, they're probably looking at it and they're thinking, all right, this one has more grains. This is the one I'm going to follow because I eat more, do more because I'm working hard. I'm actually doing physical labor all the time. Hey, Steve, Corsair Trainers. Hit the like button, went back into the shadows. Keep on popping your head out of the shadows, though. Saying hi to everybody. So, with that in mind, you got to calculate, you got to have to work on your calculation on your food. And one of the things we want to do here is let you know, don't rely on someone else to tell you exactly what you need. because exactly what you need is not exactly what I need, which is not exactly what Will needs, which is not exactly like Reed needs. And of course, if you have Anthony in the group, he has a whole nother set of needs because he needs stuff for his sourdough breads and all the stuff he makes.
Yeah, he's been doing really well on all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
I've been learning some things I didn't know about from him for sure.
Hey, my twin brother just showed up here in the chat. Scott from Hidden Valley Homestead.
Hey, Will, your mic seems to be muted. Poor guy.
Oh, there I go.
There we go. Now I can hear you.
Yeah,
Good to see
Anthony's
you.
going to be the baker of the colony.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So one other quick thing here, and I'll let you go back, Reed. So, what we're going to try to cover here is give you some basic stuff. And I got some spreadsheets to show you here later how to develop yourself. And you'll go on to that. What you're going to say now, Reed.
Oh, I was going to say, I like these sort of like calculators that give you an idea of what to make. And so like, if you're like worried, you can just get one of these and put it all together and it will form a basic food supply. But warning, it is basic. I mean, it's like that. It will get you through, but you ain't going to exactly be excited to eat it all every day.
Well, it's a guideline, actually.
Yeah, it's a guideline. That's why the one says it just gave the total of grains, whereas those other ones broke it down. Oh, you need so many wheat, so much flour, so much. No, okay, because not everybody's going to be eating the same grains. I know Anthony. I believe Anthony was using some rye and some other things that weren't even listed on their stuff. And I know Howie says, "Yeah, eat rye. Rye's good for you. It's better than a white flour." So there's a lot of different things that depending on your health and your diet, what you're going to tells you how many of this thing, but the individual stuff, that's what you got to figure out.
And once you get one of these set up, then you can start investing. Like my recommendation for people is to get a basic food supply set up and then buy what I call the gravy, like the freeze-dried materials, a lot of other things like that. So you have some variety sticked in there. Because like I've bought, freeze-dried steaks and other things and it's like that. So I'd have, so I can make additional things with it and such.
Yeah.
I'd love to get one of those freeze dryers, but they cost a lot of money.
Yeah, it's on my wish list too.
All right, I'm going to throw something else up here again real quick here. Okay, so basically what I'm starting to do here is I've got a simple Excel spreadsheet, and if you don't know Excel, it's probably one of the most important things you can learn to manage your budget, your food, and everything else. And what I started doing here, I just started putting different types of meals in there. Reed, Will, give me a meal to put in here.
Pork and beans.
What was that, Reed?
Pork and beans.
Pork and beans. Pork and beans. All right, Will, give me one.
Roast beef.
Roast. Okay. Give me another one. Or sorry, guys in the side chat, give me a meal, a dinner meal or a breakfast meal or whatever, and type it in there in the side chat. And
Spare ribs.
Spare ribs. How about omelet? An omelet and bacon.
Okay, hang on. SPAR, spare ribs, RIBS. And you said what now?
It says liver and onions.
Liver and onions? Liver
and we got ham and eggs.
Green ham and eggs, yep.
Green
onions.
Let's see. Lori, come on, give us a suggestion.
Ham and eggs. What did you say there? What's the other one that you said there, Reed?
Well, we got liver and onions, ham and eggs, and then I said an omelet and eggs. I like omelets.
Omelets. I know that's not spelled right, is it? All right. Let me do a spell check. I know that's not can't be spelled right. It doesn't look right. Omelets. There we go. Change. Okay. All right. So,
Chickpeas. Oh, we should add some soups.
all right. Yeah. So you got like,
Spaghetti. Sorry, I'm just reading what the chat's saying to us.
taco soup, which is a good meal. Beef stew.
Yeah, beef stew.
Oatmeal.
Yeah, oatmeal.
And it says, let me do one thing. CH, chicken and DU dumplings.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal. Oatmeal.
Chili. We can't forget chili.
That's wrong. Hang on a second. I got backwards there. There we go. Oatmeal. Chili. I got chili mac at the top, but yeah, chili and beans. Okay. All right. Let's hold it there now for now. Okay. So with this here on the meal, now the next step I would do, we would actually need the noodles, sauce, SAUCE.
Oh, I see what Gil's after.
CH, the cheese, the Parmesan cheese. You know, the same thing. You'd need the macaroni noodles. You need the chilies, chili. You need the cheese sauce.
You gonna make it there, Jax?
So basically, see what I'm doing, guys? I'm breaking it out here so you know exactly what you're going to need for different things.
You guys said you got beer.
So for each of these meals here, you have to figure out what you're going to need to make the meal. And when you figure out this stuff, then you can work on, once you have it all done, there's different things you can do with this. I can take this like this, and I can sort this by, go up here to,
I'm gonna do to myself here.
to data. On data, I sort, and I can sort by, okay, there's no header row, so I can sort by, let's see here, column C. And it'll alphabetize it by column C.
You guys made me hungry, so I'm having some goulash.
And then I can do this. I can add a second level. I can alphabetize it by B after that. So, boom, everything went in. So it alphabetized it first by column C, and then by this one. But if you have several things that have noodles in it, you can just find out all what the noodles are, and figure out, or how often do we have spaghetti? How often do we have chili mac? How often do we have tuna noodle casserole? That's all. We put some here, noodles. NOODLES, noodles. So if I do it again and hit sort, see how the noodles came up to the top there? The tuna noodle casserole came up to the top because it put the noodles together. And so this is one way, guys, you can do to figure out exactly how much macaroni you need to have, how many spaghetti noodles you have, how many, whatever type noodles you use for tuna, how much potatoes you're going to need for, for stuff, onions and whatever.
That Excel program, you ought to be able to figure out how many each one of those comes out to calories, I think, if I remember right.
Well, you do the meal on that later, because there is a meal calculator sheet where you put in there, chili. I'll give you a basic one, depending, because people make things a little bit differently, but it'll give you the basic calorie count. Plus, if you have if you're making this from the box of preformed macaroni and cheese and just adding a can of chili to it, it's right there on the labels. You hold it up, read the label. Okay, you know what it's got. But with this, doing this, you can figure out what your need to make what you're growing go farther. So if you are growing pigs, you're raising pigs, and you got corn, and you got chickens, and what you can figure out what else you actually need to have in your pantry to make the most of what you're actually growing. And then there's you would need use another spreadsheet to track the feed you're using to feed your pigs, chickens, goats, cows. Maybe you're raising some beef cows, whatever you're going to eat. You can figure out what you need for them as well. So an Excel spreadsheet here, guys, is something that's really. Oh, hang on! I just spotted the thing. You can also color code the different things as well. That's CR set. Yeah, you can do all sorts of color coding. Yeah, you can color code things really good. This is just another tab on the bottom here of stuff I have. So you can color code all sorts of stuff, but you can color code anything that has noodles, anything that has rice. If you have Chilean beans in the cans and you want to stretch it, what's a good way to stretch it? Add rice to it.
Oh, right. I was going to say macaroni.
That too. You add macaroni, add rice to it, add spaghetti to it.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
Chili
you may do your spaghetti, put your chili on top, sprinkle either your grated cheese or your sliced cheese on it. Yeah, you can do all sorts of things to it. You know, chili and beans. Yeah, add a can of diced tomatoes to it. It actually is pretty good. My wife stocks the biggest stash of diced tomatoes. She adds it to everything, and even our fussy eater middle son loves it.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, I mean, so you can take all sorts of menus and stuff, and you can figure out on your menus here how often you have hamburgers, how often do you do pork and beans, how often do you do spare ribs or roast beef or beef stew or chicken stew or chicken and dumplings or tuna noodle, whatever it is. You can figure out how many times a month you do it, and then if you do it like if you do it just once a month, put it on here once. If you do it twice a month, put 2 levels on it, so you have chili and beans twice. And
well,
that'll
like
help.
oh, sorry. Well, I mean, Gil.
Yeah, so that would give you an idea of exactly what you're using, so you can plan stuff out. Go ahead, Reed.
I was going to say, now, one thing to remember, guys, is make certain you actually eat this stuff. One of the worst things you could do is have stuff put a set aside and all that you don't really eat, and then a disaster happens and you try to shift to it.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, you can get backed up, or you can get run into the bathroom the whole time, or you may find you hate the taste of it.
You're gonna need this added to your first aid kit, anti-diarrheal. So yeah.
On the same note of that, one of the other things you can get is psyllium husk fiber pills that can help bulk things up sometimes for some people that are sensitive to certain medications. But make certain you're actually used to this kind of food. The other thing is it has to be, I really recommend it's food you like, because having good food is such a massive morale boost.
Yeah. Comfort food.
If you're buying the rice and the beans and all that stuff that stocked up really nice and easy, make sure that you're going to start eating it so that you can acquire that taste.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chicken fried steak I just threw up there. So we're going to need the steak. You're going to love this one here. STE. Steak. Mashed potato.
Yeah. Potatoes are great. I love potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Sweet potatoes.
We're talking chicken fried steak here. GRAV. Gravy mix. Oh, by the way, my wife stumbled across something a new gravy mix we love. There's that stuff called Better Than Bouillon.
Mm-hmm.
The same company now makes Better Than Gravy Mix.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to get some.
It is good. All right. What else? Okay, you got potatoes. The gravy. Generally, we have. Let me just widen this up here. See, you can just make these cells wider just by dragging at the top there. Corn. You should have a little bit of corn on the side.
Charles is enemy.
Charles's enemy.
Just ask him. Come here, because he's bugging everybody to death. Ask him. Hold on. Get over here. Ask him whether he likes corn or not.
Well,
Right.
Charles, do you like chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes, gravy, and corn on the cob next to it?
I don't like corn, but I like the other stuff.
Okay. And that's the thing, people. You got to, remember, you may have a fussy eater in your mix, and you're gonna have a separate meal for them. When we have tacos, generally, my middle son, once in a while he'll eat them, but generally he makes a quesadilla for himself, so he's still having something semi-Mexican, but he wants something else. He doesn't like. There are certain things he does not like.
I'm sorry, I wasn't allowed in my household to turn down food if it was on the plate. I was told I had to at least eat a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And my son did the very same thing. If it's on your plate, you eat it, because there's kids in the other countries that would dream to have the plate that's in front of you.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
how
like,
my house
I
too.
don't make him eat green beans yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You
I will never make my kids eat Brussels sprouts.
You know what's funny though is
I know
It's-
Lori came up with some emailed me some ways to do it and stuff, but I will not make them eat Brussels sprouts. When my wife fixes it and if it's good enough and they decide to try it, more power to my kids. But I will not make them eat stuff that I don't like, because I know I don't like it either. Now, my wife and my youngest son love sour cream. Me and my middle son do not. My daughter loves it as well, but she's off married now and everything. So we work around with certain things, but like my middle son there, he has Asperger's. So sometimes he's very picky on what he eats. Now you give him a hamburger with ketchup or a cheese pizza, well, he'll eat that 7 days a week. Give him waffles in the breakfast, cheeseburger for lunch, and pizza for dinner, and he'll be happy for 2 years.
You know what's funny though is like I found my palate changed a lot as I got older, and I was more willing to eat a lot of other foods. You guys find that too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially my boy. My boy was like that. He would not eat a lot of vegetables as a child. But now that he's 20, he says, "Oh, I tried that. That's good."
It's interesting. My youngest son,
Their taste change.
Yeah.
As ours.
Yeah, my youngest son, when he went to scout camp, learned, because they serve. That's it. So he learned a few different things, and then he went to a special scout camp called National Youth Leadership Training. And then he went back. He liked it so much, he went back as on the kitchen staff, and he learned to cook a bunch of stuff. And one of the things we had a hard time getting him to eat as a youngin was spinach. Now he likes cooking spinach with all sorts of different vinegars added to it. He'll add one vinegar one time, a different vinegar another time, and he likes the flavors and stuff of vinegars in foods, and garlic. He'll do spinach with some fresh minced garlic in it.
Sounds like him and I could get along.
Yeah. So he's after your garlic video, all the garlic you're growing, and he his tastes have changed, and he's willing to try anything. I mean, he even makes cheesecakes. My wife loves cheesecakes. I don't.
What is wrong with you, Gil?
Man, I was going to say, wait a minute here.
Now, you want to give me a nice spice cake with a brown sugar cinnamon buttercream frosting on it? Oh, yeah. But I say everybody has different tastes. And so you have to make sure that whatever you're storing, everybody in your family will eat. The big saying is, store what you eat what you store.
And actually, thinking on that, so certain meal setups like tacos, where people can pick the type of toppings and stuff they like on it, is probably pretty good if you've got some picky eater mixes. So if you come up with other sort of meals like that where you can sort of, alter it to suit your taste, would probably be a pretty good setup.
Yeah. My
Like
wife and I will
fingers.
put lettuce in our tacos. Our boys will not, but they will put the tomatoes in there. So yeah, so
That's a good point.
there's a lot of different stuff here you can do with your meals. And when you start doing a list of meals, it's going to start growing. And actually, you want to have, for dinner meals, you want to have at least 60 different meals. Now, they may use a lot of the same recipes, but you change some of the stuff out a little bit. Like chicken, you can have chicken. You can have fried chicken. You can have chicken and dumplings. You can have chicken casserole. You can have chicken stew. So you can, but each one of those tastes a little differently, and you're not getting sick of chicken because you're having it different ways.
Yeah, that's really important. What's that starvation term where, like, even though you're starving or really, really hungry, but you've had your palate's exhausted and so you're not hungry, you won't eat the same thing over and over again? There's like some term for it, but it's a thing they know.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, if you don't vary the food, you can literally not eat even though you're starving. And people will actually starve to death because they got bored of the food. Food fatigue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's thank you, Weber Homestead. Hey, Claybank. So off through John, through Jack's camera, and hi to everybody I may have missed. Okay. So there's a lot of different foods that take, or different meals that take the same foods, but you change it up with the seasoning, the spices, and some of the way it's cooked. All right. Hamburger Helper is a good example of different ways to do hamburger. And what do they have that goes right along with Hamburger Helper, guys?
A toilet?
No, I'm thinking they also have Chicken Helper.
Tuna Helper.
Tuna Helper. Yeah. So now you not only you have different noodles and stuff to go with the meat, you have different meats to go with that same noodle. Chicken Alfredo. You can put ground beef in it. You can put ground turkey in it. You can put chicken chunks in it. You can put tuna in it. So the Alfredo sauce packets you buy, like the Nor Alfredo mix stuff, you now have 4 different meats going into it to make 4 different meals, and you do one different one a week. So that takes care of 4 meals through the month using the Alfredo sauce. But you're not going to get sick of the Alfredo sauce because one has chicken, one has beef, and you don't have to make the casserole. You can do it as a side dish with those. So one of my favorite shows growing up, and I don't know how many people in here saw it, was Graham Kerr, The Galloping Gourmet. And then
I don't even know what that is, unfortunately.
And then
you're lucky.
This is when I was in my early teens.
How about this one? The Raging Cajun.
Raging Cajun, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay.
good food now.
But Graham Kerr was on. He was on for like 8 years when I was young. He was like Jack LaLanne, only he was of the food set. Jack LaLanne helped you exercise the food off. Graham Kerr helped you cook the food.
Graham Kerr was on way too long.
Then he came back later on, and he had the Frugal Gourmet. How to make good tasting, fun foods at a low cost. And that was another good show. It was good. He's like one of these, he's an award-winning chef. And so he had some good stuff there. And so that's where I learned a lot of different meals and stuff and things. And my mom used to love that. Used to watch it all the time at noon. We'd watch it at noon, and guess what we're having for dinner? And none of the stuff that he had there did anyone in my family, my brothers and sister, ever turn our nose up at, except when he did Brussels sprouts, because my mom always burnt the Brussels sprouts.
See, I have an issue with all y'all people sitting there saying, "Oh, I make my own cooked noodles and I make all this home." I can't do that. My kitchen's so doggone small. If I try to change my mind and turn around, I bump my nose in the refrigerator.
Hey,
No, actually, one good point to make if you're thinking long term, like if world changing event happens and you're like trying to, I know some people don't like to think that way, but I sort of do. But is if you think about like a lot of spices and stuff you use, think about all the spices you can grow yourselves.
Yep.
And adjust your stuff so that the spices and herbs and stuff you can use, or herbs, whichever you want to say it, that you can grow them out of your own area, so like that. Like I can grow dill and a bunch of other stuff and cumin and such all day long here. And I actually like those a lot, so I'm quite fond of using those.
yeah, I was telling people on my show tonight that some of that stuff you can grow right in the windows of your house.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
sunlight in those windows. I have 2 windows in my apartment. One faces north, one faces south. The one on the north gets 0 sunlight. The one on the south gets about 3 hours worth. That's it.
Okay, so on Will's chat earlier, Will's live earlier, he was talking about what we had in our garden. I just threw in the chat the list of what I want, some of the stuff I threw up in there. We grow apple. We got apple trees, apricot trees, strawberries, walnut trees, cherry trees, oranges, strawberries, lemons, tangerines, peaches, rosemary, sage, thyme, artichokes, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, sunflowers, strawberry. Yeah, we got a lot of we got strawberries everywhere under the trees. They just love it in California there because it's warm, but they get the shade from the tree and they just grow nuts. And we eat them all gone. So
I love strawberries.
Oh yeah.
They
And
spread too. Have you ever noticed that?
What was that?
They spread.
Oh yeah.
Plant a few, and man, you got a bunch before you know it.
Yeah, my wife actually, when they start spreading, gets down there and works with them, and puts each one into a little small pot, and when it roots in there, then she'll cut it and she'll move it to another part of the yard and plant it to get it spreading over there. And that's how come we have hundreds, if not thousands, of strawberry plants.
Don't mind me. I have to feed my cat.
Yeah, and so to the one comment on the side there, CJ, yes, I'm doing good tonight. So you cracked the beer, turn it in. All right, we'll see you later. Let's see. So all right, so we talked about the basic type of meals and how you can set it up to in a spreadsheet to figure out what you need to be able to do these meals. And so what you do is you'd probably have one tab here. You get over here, one tab here for say dinner meals. You open up another tab. Come in, open, and then you go ahead and you set this up. Really highlight several areas.
Good night, Jax.
Take it, widen those up, cells up, boom. Now we look like the other page, and then it's hard to see. You go over here again, enlarge it, and then you start typing in breakfasts. Oatmeal, malto meal, grits, grape nuts. Grape nuts last forever. Cream of wheat,
Hominy.
hominy.
Hominy. Yeah.
One of my favorite ones from my kid. I finally found it again. They actually have the big biscuits.
I usually have to. Yeah, I like those. I have to mail order the darn things.
There, now I got food fatigue.
I do not like shredded wheat at all.
Yeah.
When I was driving a truck, I had 2 pallets fall off the back of a truck and pin me to the ground. I do not like shredded mini wheats.
These aren't mini wheats. These are the big biscuits.
I don't care. It's the big brother. They weigh twice as much.
It's like this. I love this. My wife saw me start, because I found it again up here, and I started eating it again for breakfast. When she came up last time, she saw me making up in the bowl, and she goes, "Oh, it's gonna go mushy too quick." I go, "Not if you not reading your doing Facebook, and you're actually eating it and not waiting, taking in half an hour to an hour to eat the bowl."
Yeah,
but
I do like the taste of it. It's just, when you see 2 pallets, which is 48 cases, 24 cases per pallet, and there's 12 boxes per case. come down, fall on top of you, and take you out of work for 8 weeks, you really have a distaste for the color of the box, what it looks like, and what possibly you.
Yeah. All right. You're forgiven.
Thank you.
But
Go
yeah,
ahead and give
yeah.
me grape nuts. I'll be happy all day long.
Yeah. Grape nuts is great. They're, and you notice the stuff we're kind of mentioning here is sugar free.
Yep.
And it lasts longer. I mean, the shredded wheat, Dave, you have to listen. The shredded, my mom actually had a cardboard barrel, about a 30-gallon barrel, and she got a whole bunch of those, put the boxes in there, and just filled it up full of boxes of shredded wheat for food storage.
You're not going to stockpile, Lucky Charms or something, Gil?
I'm sorry, marshmallows do not belong in breakfast cereals. Now, Captain Crunch, oh yeah, I'll take a regular.
They're not even real marshmallows.
I know.
Or they're dehydrated. They're not freeze dried. They're dehydrated.
Yeah.
It's a painful process to watch them get done, but I've seen it done.
Yeah.
But see, marshmallows do belong in cereal. Count Chocula. Now, come on.
Hot chocolate.
Chocolate belongs in a cup, either in a warm to hot temperature, with marshmallows on top of it, and a little whipped cream shot on top of that.
You use warm milk and grape nuts. Just use some warm milk in your Count Chocula.
I don't use warm milk and grape nuts. I do cold milk. It makes it longer before it turns to mush. But as everybody can see, though, there's a
way
ginger.
to do it.
Okay, what's that? They're having an interesting conversation in a side chat. If you're a fan of onion and garlic, don't get much better than ginger root, bloodroot, and mushrooms.
We were just talking about you, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony. Yeah. And so, yeah, Anthony, you should have gotten I think I sent you the email with the link.
Oh,
so
boy. We're all going to get swished into little people.
The where was I going with this now before I said squirrel and looked at the side chat?
I actually like to just chew on grape nuts without anything. I just like to crunch on them for some weird reason.
Yeah, we actually, when I was young, we used to put them in a sandwich bag and take it on our scout hikes.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
because that was your original trail mix. Because you're not going to snarf it all down at once, and you're just going to eat a little at a time, and it just keeps your with the carbohydrates on it, keeps your everything just right while you're hiking and working.
Yeah, see, I use granola instead of grape nuts for hiking. Grape nuts for breakfast, and then I'd pack a bag or two of granola with some freeze-dried banana chips or nuts in it.
Yeah,
occasionally dates or something like that to go in it.
Okay, now, so besides this type of stuff to store, what Dave just mentioned there, I'm using a segue in. The one website talked about the number 10, the big cans of dehydrated or freeze-dried foods. Bananas, chips, or slices, whatever you want to call it, freeze-dried. Those things will last. They will last for decades. How do I know this? Because in 1971, my mom bought several cans of freeze-dried bananas chips, and we cracked one open about 2 years ago, and it's still perfect.
Yep, those things last forever if you freeze dry them. Those things are just hardy fruit.
The next thing right along with it was the apple slices that were freeze-dried.
See you later, Off-Grid.
All righty. Take it easy, Off-Grid. So, there are certain canned foods, freeze-dried canned foods, which you can get and keep for long-term for emergencies. You don't have to rotate them through because, like I said, 1971 is when she bought them. 81, 91, 2001, 2011, that's 40 years. And so 45 years is a long time to rotate a can through because it kept for 45 years. Absolutely perfect.
I tell you what, strawberries are a good.
They do it too.
They keep good if you freeze dry them.
Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, they all freeze dry really well.
Ice cream.
Hey, so they're blessed.
Now, if we're thinking about, long-term sustainability, obviously we may not be able to freeze dry it in the future, but a lot of produce like that, the berries, the fruits and all that, dehydrate really well, and they'll keep for a season, dehydrated, and you can use them really well. And
not only that, you can make fruit leather out of them.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Oh, that stuff's good.
And my cousins, they made a lot of fruit leather. Once they had it set up, they just put it in a vacuum sealed bag and dropped it in the freezer.
Oh, neat.
They'd pull the bags out. That way it lasts even longer. They pull the bags, not a big bag, but just, like a gallon-sized bag. And they pull that out and put it in the fridge and pull stuff out of it. And then, so in the wintertime, they're having fruit leather.
I could also see putting that in like canning jars and just putting them in the freezer if you were out of bags.
Yeah.
I took some mandarin oranges that I've got there's still got 60 cans of mandarin oranges. And I did 6 trays of mandarin oranges made from fruit leather out of it.
All right. Another channel shout out here. Pennsylvania Prepper.
Mm-hmm. That's a good channel.
She has the freeze dryer, and she just had some cans that had been kept in the laundry room, and the moisture in the laundry room had started to get some rust on the outside. So she opened all those cans of pineapple and ran it through the freeze dryer. Mm-hmm. So, and that's another one to get. Once you freeze dry it, will keep, and you put it in a can, and especially if you have one of the.
That was all that pineapple she did, right, Gil?
That was pineapple. And if you take if you get the little canister of nitrogen, and I'm trying to remember who it was that on here that was in this one of the streams here that has a number 10 canner, and he cans stuff. You just shoot some of that nitrogen down in there, displace the oxygen. Hey, you got your 30, 40 years of sustainability there for those stuff you just canned.
I'll PM it to you on Facebook, Lori.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, for the long-term stuff. You can even make a lot of these long-term freeze-dry stuff. If you're growing a lot of the food, if you're growing a lot of strawberries and berries and apricots and pears and stuff like that, you can freeze-dry it and they'll keep for you. Yeah, like I said, if you have a can, or even you don't have to have the metal can, if you have just the canning jars, like a half-gallon canning jar, and you vacuum seal it and have the nitrogen in there, it will keep for years and years and years.
Yeah, I use one of the things I use is I have Mylar bags. I do, and a vacuum sealer I use a lot.
Trying to think what is the channel on that. That's all she does is a lot of Mylar bags. Mama Bear Preps, I think it is.
Yeah, so I have a couple experiments I'm running. Is seeing how fats like oils and stuff don't keep long, right?
Right.
So weird one I'm working on is took coconut oil, put it in a Mylar bag, put an oxygen absorber in it, and then suck all the air out. I'm seeing if it will go past the expiration date and long term and not go rancid. Because oxygen and light is what causes oils to go rancid. Mm-hmm. So it's an experiment going on there. Coconut oil I chose because it's solid at room temperature. Made it it's easy to bag and stuff that way.
Yeah.
So it's my odd experiment. So a couple years from now, there'll be a video talking about it.
Yeah. You can get those not the CO2 cartridges you all used to. They got the bigger ones that have nitrogen or nitrous oxide in them. They use them with the wine bottles and stuff to remove the cork, so the nitrogen doesn't flavor the wine. And so you can get the nitrogen to put in stuff like that. Like if you were doing the coconut oil, you could probably use one of those canning lids ones, but you put fill the coconut oil in there, displace any leftover airspace with nitrogen, and then vacuum seal it tight, and then put that jar in a box it all back up. Duct tape it shut again. No light. It's in there, and that might be might keep it without any oxygen, with the nitrogen in there, might keep it going longer. And with the jar,
Sure might. That's keeping the stuff out of the light really helps. It's like for everyone that's made their own jams and all that, if you leave it in like a room where there's light, it sure darkens pretty quick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things we found out too. Well, going to do two things here. First, you could also do that with tallow and lard.
That link.
Put the oxygen in there to get it, and put those jars in the dark. But when we can peaches and pears, especially we can pears that we took 10 years to eat, actually 12 years. The ones that are on the front of the shelf started darkening. And so when we pushed them all to the back of the shelves and put, the bags of sugar in front of them and stuff like that, they didn't, they stopped darkening.
Yeah. And you know how like most of the canning seals, they say they're only good for like 18 months or something like that. The problem is they rate them that way based on you're going to move the can around. If you leave your jars like where they are and don't move them, those seals I found last years and years.
Yeah, because like I said, when we did the pears that one time in the half-gallon jars, it was 12 years later we'd crack those suckers open. They were still sealed tight and everything.
Well, Palmetto mentions adding some citric acid can help, and yeah, I knew that, but it can still darken over time.
Yeah, we used a lot of the can't think of what it's called now. Begins with a P, that you add to the jellies and stuff like that. It's usually it's a little square box, and it's yellow and white on the front. I can't remember what it's called. Having a brain fart here, senior moment.
Senior.
Yeah, there it is. Anthony said pectin, yes. And my mom made a mistake, and she actually put 1.5 times the amount of pectin in these.
So it was a fruit roll-up?
No. Basically, it kept it. It helped preserve it and kept it from browning and stuff. It helped preserve it a little bit better.
Oh, okay. Now, pectin you can actually make.
Mm-hmm.
I am researching that. I want to learn how to do that, because for a lot of canning, you need a lot of pectin to help get it to settle up, for jams and stuff. The other thing that's going to be hard to produce on our own, it's going to take a major effort, is sugar. Need sugar for a lot of stuff.
Well, around here, there are a lot of sugar beets being grown around here.
Yeah, that's where I'm aiming for. Sugar beets, is growing sugar beets. I could see how you could grow sugar cane in a greenhouse, but you couldn't make enough yield to need all the sugar you need for your canning process.
Yeah. You're in North or South Carolina?
I'm in New Mexico.
In Mexico. You're in Mexico. Your temperature there is fine. You just need to have the water. Anthony's in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, he's in South Carolina.
He should be able to grow sugar cane there. And if you do it right, you can harvest, have 2 or 3 harvests a year. Because a close cousin of sugar cane is sorghum, and we used to grow that for our milk cows.
Now, sorghum, though, it's real nice because, it makes a good feed, but you can also get make sorghum syrup out of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good uses for that.
Yeah.
I actually like the taste of it, as strange as that is.
That's strange, Elizabeth.
On a page here, it says you can make your own freeze dryer out of a styrofoam cooler.
It's a little bit more difficult than that, because they're like the freeze dryers you get. They got pumps and everything else. And
well, I didn't say it was perfect. I said you can make your own out of a styrofoam cooler.
Yeah. Hey, Will, did you see what? I'm going to throw it up here real quick, so you can see it in front of you. So Elizabeth was in your your live stream, and her messages kept getting deleted. Someone didn't block her, did they, by accident?
I haven't got her blocked.
What
Yeah.
may happen sometimes is that when you join a live stream, it puts it on top chat. And sometimes
Oh
people,
yeah, I've had that
when
happen to
you're
me
on the
too.
stream or any
I'm
live,
sorry
you need
about
to-
that, Elizabeth. I know I didn't block you, but I'll look in my dashboard and make sure that there's nothing going on.
Yeah, it's like Dave was saying, the difference between live chat and top chat. Sometimes the one, well, all those that comment a lot go into the top chat, and those are just now and then. If there's a lot of people commenting at the same time, it'll drop those that don't talk at all much.
I don't block anybody. I want everybody to be able to have an experience.
Yeah. The only problem every time we had pineapple eat through the can was similar to what Pennsylvania Prepper did, where it was in a moist environment and the can actually rusted from the outside in. And once it got us so far, then the whole thing went really quick.
I've had high acid stuff like that, like tomatoes, pineapples, and certain other things eat from the inside out.
Yeah.
Usually it's from a tiny nick in the can and stuff. I mean, or the small coating isn't made through. So like you can have a batch that one goes and the rest are fine, but I've had a couple go from the inside out myself.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah. Our tomatoes, usually when our tomatoes went from the inside out, they were like 6-7 years old. Where they got pushed to the back of one of the shelves and we forgot about them. They got left out of the rotation.
So one guy in the chat, his name is Brass Tard.
Brass Tard. Yeah, he's down there where you at.
He's in New Mexico too. Check out my channel when you get a chance. I have gotten a lot figured out how to get stuff to grow here. It's a bit more work, but you can actually get a really nice garden going.
Yeah. And let's see who's out there. If one of the moderators could grab Reed's channel there and put the link to it out there.
I can dig it up real quick.
All right. So, yeah. Yeah, we've had tomato cans and others bulge, but that's usually when they're more than 5 years old, or if the can's been dropped and dented and something, it actually somehow cracked the seal a little bit around the edge there.
Yeah, that's especially true. So like the cans that you buy in the clearance section, use them first.
Yes. Yeah. If you're at the store and you get a bunch of cans, you get home, you find one dented, put that in the front.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we should talk about signs of botulism and spoilage and stuff.
Yes. And let me go ahead and drop this out of here. There we go. And so, Reed, why don't you start that off first? I'm going to do some little digging here on the side.
Okay, so high acid foods, so pickles, stuff canned with vinegar and stuff like that, a lot of fruits and stuff like that, apricots, cherries and stuff like that, they're a high acid food, and we're talking pH less than 4. Those are not acceptable for botulism bacteria to grow in. Botulism only survives in a low acid environment and low oxygen environment. So green beans, those kind of things, other vegetables we're used to, other things in the can at the store, those are dangerous for home canning and botulism if you don't pressure can them correctly. Now, any sign of a can that you've had stored away for a while, if the top has gotten loose or if the top is starting to bulge, that is a sign that something's very wrong in that can. Do not use it. Don't just go ahead and scoop everything out. Boil that can to kill all the botulism toxins and stuff like that. But make certain that stuff is tossed way away, because botulism is so incredibly toxic. Micrograms is enough to kill someone. So you can have just a tiny bit of contamination in a can, and it's enough to kill you. Now, the signs of botulism poisoning, it's a neurotoxin. So people start having loss of motor control, can't swallow correctly, quit responding, muscles won't work, twitching, so like that. It's pretty dangerous. And in grit down or SHTF events, you get something like that. Basically, you're going to need people to try to support you through it, like help you breathe and all that, and hopefully your body can clear it out. But the chances of care getting you through it is just going to be slim. So if you got any doubts about a can, don't mess with it. Oh, here we go. Bill's got something up.
Yeah, so this is still from the Wikipedia on botulism, and it talks about like on this over on the side over here, talking about the showing the kid here with the weakness of eye muscles and drooping eyelids. It's one of the things, basically because it's neurotoxin, your muscles don't work right.
Yeah, and some of the ways you can treat that is atropine, but how many of us have supplies of atropine in our storage, right?
That link is for MOI, you guys.
The other thing is they are making, it's not on the market yet. I'm watching for it, but there's going to be test strips for home canners for botulism soon, probably in a year or two. As soon as they come out on the market, I'm going to be very interested in checking them out. So definitely that could be a real life-saving thing to stock up on.
Yeah. Now here, looking at this here, it says prevention is primary by proper food preparation. The toxin, though not an organism, is destroyed by heating to more than 185 degrees Fahrenheit for longer than 5 minutes. Honey can contain the organism. For this reason, honey should not be fed to children under 12 months. Treatment is with an antitoxin. Those who lose their ability to breathe on their own, mechanical ventilation may be necessary for months. Antibiotics can be used for wound botulism. So, hey, Dave, make a note of this for next Wednesday to ask Doc Bones about and Nurse Amy about the antibiotics.
Honey on wounds?
No, no. Antibiotics may be used for wound botulism.
Honey is great for it.
Yeah, but as when they're talking about they'll be talking about the fish mocks and stuff like that.
Honey.
So death occurs in 5 to 10% of people. Botulism also affects other animals. The word comes from the Latin word meaning sausage. So guess where they got it from originally? Sausage. Ew. And it is a major cause of Nancy Pelosi's current look.
You couldn't resist, huh, Gil?
I could not. Bad Gil. I could not resist that one.
Her and Warren both have the same issues, so
the Center for Disease Controls has a nice little section on botulism. So, and you got all the different things. You can click on all the different tabs to click on it. So you can go do some research yourself, because what we can tell you here is not enough. And if you read it and save the link, you can read it again. And every time you read it, you learn more.
Now, botulism is the big killer in canning and preparation. It's the one that is the dangerous one. However, when we're talking about SHTF, there's other stuff that can get in the food, and it may not produce, botulism toxin, but what it could do is give you a horrific case of the runs, food poisoning from that. And the dehydration that it comes with that will kill people quick if they don't have adequate water and electrolyte replenishment. So that's your secondary major danger.
And that's another item that, I make sure I've got in a couple of my med kits is electrolyte stuff. It's not my primary bag, the big one, which is back there on that table, but I have it in all my smaller ones, and I have it in my go bags. I have electrolyte replenishment, not just for myself, but mainly for Charles, because at 8 years old, if we're trekking through the countryside, he's going to lose his. He's going to dehydrate faster than I will.
Oh, yeah. The SOP brings up an excellent point. Kids are far more susceptible to this than adults.
Yeah. Now, Anthony, who does a lot of pressure canning, Yeah, it's like I says, the horror stories are from idiots that cannot follow directions.
Pretty much.
It's the same group of people who spill hot coffee on themselves and then sue McDonald's for millions of dollars.
Or
man.
think that the cruise control button in their RV motorhome means that they can push that and go back and fix themselves a cup of coffee and it's going to stay on the road.
I wish that wasn't true, but you're right, Gil. That's happened.
Yeah, and I know it's worse. You know, the one right along dumb with that is the judge that ruled in favor of the dumb lady.
Yep.
Hey, yeah. So,
Mama Z's here.
Mama Z.
Hey, Mama Z.
hey. So, hey, Anthony, if you want to come up here, you're more than happy to add you to the panel up here.
Come on, you know you want to do it.
Drop that out. There we go.
Now, one of the other ways stuff can get into your canned food, even if you followed all the directions correctly, is if there is a damage to the seal on the ring, like there's a gap in the rubber or something like the seal parts. That's why they say don't reuse tops of can lids, is because you can get something in there and it doesn't seal correctly. So you really want to make certain your seals are very, very good and stuff. And the directions in the ball canning book cover like checking the seals out and stuff like that. So that's the other way things can get in at a later time.
Yeah. The other thing too, real quick on that. The other problem is a slight nick or chip on the top edge of the jar.
Oh yeah, the glass, exactly.
The glass. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we had more problems with a glass jar getting chipped with somebody in there trying to scrape it out with a spoon to get all the jelly out of it, and they chip the edge of it. It's like, really? That's what the rubber spatula is for.
Yeah. I've accidentally dropped one into the sink when I was getting ready to clean it because it got slippery on me and damaged the top.
Hi, Robert.
All right, and with all the guys that we have in here that do canning, and you know, you've got MOI, you've got Palmetto in there. Another one to go check if you want a third option, and she'll tell you straight up the way it is. Go check out Mouse Toes. It's the name of
Yes,
her channel.
I was going to mention Mouth Toes.
But I want to warn you, she's a crass Southern girl. She's from Louisiana, and she will bust a cap in your butt if you try walking up on her porch taking one of her canned goods. So just be careful now. She'll tell you the way it is. But you know, canning is really simple. If you read the book, follow it along, pay attention to all the warnings, make sure you clean your glass before you put a lid on it, boil everything, you'll be fine.
I mean, it's something our ancestors have done for hundreds of years, really.
Yeah, and the human race survived.
Yeah.
And the idiot dumb ones, you know, went by way of Darwin's theory, were eliminated from the gene pool. Okay, MOUSETOES. Oh, come on, that Mouse Toes. There we go.
The other part was fine.
Yeah, it's going real slow. Here we go. Yeah, it's going real, and I only have my green screen working, so yeah. Mouse Toes is slowly coming up. There we go. And there's her link. She has a custom link, so it's easy to find. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I almost unsubscribed to Mouse Toast because of her one video out there, the crescent rolls with steak, onion, cheese, and mushrooms.
I watched that and almost had food comatose.
Yes.
I didn't get to eat it, but it sure felt like I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
she lives pretty much off grid. She has her own solar banks. They live right next down south of the water. I mean, it's almost a dream setup if it wasn't for the fact that I live near hurricanes. But other than that, it's fine.
Oh man, I'm looking at that crescent roll steak, and oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, isn't it? It looks like there goes my diet for the next 3 weeks.
Oh my word, yeah.
Hey, I just thought of something. Anthony, got a challenge for you. We want you to make your version of it with your fresh homemade dough.
You do that, and I'll have Mouse Toes watch it, and we'll see if we can't get you two onto a competition.
See, we should do a get together, and we'll have our version of like Cutthroat Kitchen or something here, but it'll be all prepper food.
All right, so it's going to be Lori and
give you that
Anthony. We'll get Mouse Toes in there. What, Mama Z?
I'll
You
warn
cook?
you, Mouse Toes is going to tear you guys up. Them little toes got claws, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I'll volunteer to be one of the judges.
I'm gonna stand back out the dang way.
Anyway, so how much is enough for food storage? As far as
God.
we're gonna hit the big picture first. So, Reed, how much do you think is enough for 6 months, 12, 18, 24?
Okay, so it depends upon your prepping objective. Okay, my prepping objective is that I think in my generation or younger, so that's Gen X and younger, we're going to experience a world-changing event. So I actually prep for long-term food and enough years of it to establish a sustainable farming system. So for me, that's about 7 years and up. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but that fits with my prepping objective. If other people only worry that the most possible worst thing that could happen is 6 months, get a 6-month supply. So you need to define what is your objective and plan from there.
Good advice. Dave?
I just said I agree.
Oh, you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you like the 7 month biblical stuff. I do too.
Yeah,
7 month, 7 year. Sorry, I started to sound like a Democrat there.
Hey, you did. I was about to disown you.
Will,
2 years.
2 years?
Only because I'm at the other end of life, of the life spectrum. I'm a senior citizen, so I figure if I have 2 years, SHTF happens. With my health issues, I figure if I last a year, I'd be glad.
Yes.
But
Well,
without
come
with the other
forward.
year, I would be able to hand that down to my other family or group members, and they would have enough to start sustaining from there forward.
Sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on the side chat here, guys. What is your time frame for that you would like to have for your food storage? And let us know. All right.
One thing I'll mention to everyone watching is I am still building my supplies. I've crossed into the multiple years category, but I haven't reached my objective yet. I keep adding to it, keep working towards it.
And that should be the goal.
Your mark.
All right. Little bit of advice there from Anthony. All right.
You should start out with a goal, like even if you're first starting out, you should start out with a goal of maybe 3 months so that it's an actionable goal. Don't put too much on yourself where you can't reach the goal. Start out maybe with 3 months, and when you get there, then add 3 more months or 6 months, whatever you yourself think that you can achieve, and then just keep moving forward from that goal. Don't try to put a big goal in front of you because you'll start scraping and thinking you're never going to get there.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bill, you put up the wrong one.
Put wrong
Hang
on what?
1, 2, 3, 4. Go back
But
up 4.
that's my opinion anyway.
Go up to where?
Go up 4 more.
Elizabeth?
Uh-huh.
Ah,
I wholeheartedly agreed and wish it would have worked.
yeah. I saw that. Wasn't I didn't want to get into that, but yeah, it's another Darwin Award winner. Like the one I saw on Facebook last week. The guy working on the roof had the tie-off rope. He had it tied around his neck while he was working on the roof.
Cool.
Yeah, and as Will said, starting small and just building from there is the best way to go about it. That is the thing. Now, one thing I do want to mention on that is you start crossing in. For me, it was around 4 months area when you start crossing that much food. You got to get a logistics rotation system going. I mean, it will. The logistics start eating you alive.
Yeah.
Need to cover like good methods of organization on that sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm working on a food rotation video with a bunch of different things. That's one of the things that I've been, and the preparedness for us I've been doing for years is, your best friend when you buy new cans, you read the date on the top, the little stamp they put on it, the best use by date. Write that best use by date on the side of the can with a big black or red permanent marker.
Yeah, but
That way it's easy to see right away.
that best by date is only for optimum flavor.
Yes,
Some
exactly.
I do not recommend keeping anything that's tomato based, like ravioli or anything like that, past its expiration date personally, because we tried one at expiration date and Charles got very violently ill. So Charles can't stand ravioli anymore. Yes. But,
I take it you can't stand it either.
No, I can't stand the smell of that stuff. I don't know what
Yeah.
Chef Boyardee and all the rest of them put in there, but it stinks to me. But most of the rest of your foods, the expiration date is just optimum flavor. Most canned goods retain some nutritional value upwards of a year after the expiration date. But
They've done tests on stuff 100 years old even. It's pretty crazy.
Right. In that case, that's why you want a very good selection of various spices and additives for your food, and not just salt and pepper. You get Tabasco sauce, steak sauce, whatever. Have a supply of that stuff so you can doctor up that food and make it taste better.
Yeah, Tabasco
Sometimes
sauce
a little
is
bit
one
of
of those
spice can make
foods
a
that
huge
keep
difference
forever.
too.
Yeah, Tabasco sauce is so acidic, and with all the vinegar and everything in it, I mean, you watch. There's a video. It was how it's made. I think it was. Did a thing on how they made the Tabasco. It's made only in one place in the world, and they fill up these barrels with the slurry mix, and then they put like 2 inches of salt on the top of it, and they seal it, and then they let it sit for at least 2 years, not refrigerated, just sit in the warehouse.
Nice.
I mean, that stuff will kill any botulism walks near that plant. It automatically just dies.
Well, high salt, high acid, yeah, that stuff. I mean, that goes back to the old methods of food storage. I mean, food preservation is salt and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, salt is actually, that's something else. Always, I'm one of those people that keeps a massive amount of salt because I know how important it's going to be. So yeah, salt is very, very good to have around. What do you guys think?
Robert wants to know if anyone's brought up the fact about the storage food shortages.
You got food now, you can hurry up and get it because we're going to start seeing a major shortage. There is a massive locust swarm down in Africa that is eating more food per day than the city. What they say, it was a semi-major city. I think it said something like St. Louis. That's eating more crops than the city of St. Louis. I could be wrong on the city. I got family there too, so maybe that's why I'm thinking that one. But there is a lot of damage. We had our entire Midwest, our growing bowl suffer major floods this last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, it was mostly drought. So we're going to be experiencing food shortages of a lot of the common foods that we expect to get, a lot of your grains and stuff. So if you have the opportunity now to store grains of any kind, it would behoove you to do so.
Now, I know there's a company called Wheaton, as in Will Wheaton, the actor, grains. And they have all sorts of grains and seed. Basically the wheat, that's your seed.
But like Anthony said, salt too. If you're not putting salt into your preps, you really need to, because even though salt's not good for you in large doses, your body still needs salt.
Yeah,
and salt comes in handy for a lot of stuff. Not just intake into your body, but for curing and things like that too. So you got to make sure that you want to put some salt away in your preps to just to make sure you have it, because I feel that'll probably be one of the shortages.
Well, when it post an SHTF and all that, like if you're burning 3,500, 3,800 calories a day, you're sweating salt out like crazy.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean,
I've got
you're gonna
one
be,
thing-
yeah.
I got one thing to say about that whole chocolate thing. Wait for it.
That chocolate thing there.
Oh, never mind. It wasn't loud enough.
Oh, you're waiting for Charles to come running over.
No. I have a sound effect, but unfortunately it's too low a volume. It was a goat screaming, no!
Yeah.
It's, give it here. Let me see it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's paper.
Chocolate. I remember several years back there was a shortage of chocolate. There was something going down where they were growing all the chocolate, and the
Night,
chocolate
Lori.
prices went through the roof.
Tell
Then
Lori
it
good
took
night.
2 years for the prices to come back down.
Tell Lori good night, everybody.
Night, Lori.
Night, Lori.
Good night, Miss Cake Miss.
Wrong about a button. There we go. All right, yeah. And I have not tested this out, so anybody out there that knows this is just this is a question from me to everybody else.
No.
I heard that the salt licks that they use for cattle and stuff, that people can use them.
Oh yeah. Well, the other thing you can do is go to the store. This is how I get my salt. Is I go and buy water softener salt, but the ones that have no additives. It's just salt.
Yeah.
And you can take that and you can use like a hand coffee mill and grind it up to be much smaller, and then you got salt you can use.
I got a 5-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, any of that stuff would work. The thing is, it's just it's just salt, and you're not gonna have any. It's not gonna be the Himalayan pink salt or some of these other specialized stuff, but it's salt. So
yeah. Speaking of that Himalayan pink salt, I think it's Pennsylvania Prepper said that this week it was on sale at Dollar Tree.
Yep. I've got a couple.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So there's the important part: is salt lick is yes, humans can use it. Mineral lick, no. So
now the other thing though to bring up, if we think about salt and all that, iodine, vital thing to have in your food supply. So growing things like lima beans, very helpful because they pull out iodine out of the soil for you.
Yeah. Vinegar is something else to store. And so there are several ways you can make vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And if wine goes bad, what does it go bad as? Vinegar.
Usually.
Usually.
Cider will do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what gives sourdough that sourness to it. It's that it's the symbiotic bacteria that lives with the yeast, because the yeast feed the bacteria, which is making vinegar.
Yeah. Another good healthy point here.
Just find people who live in Salt Lake City, Utah. Make friends with them. You got a great big huge salt flat there.
Yeah.
Or find somebody in Detroit or northwestern Pennsylvania near all the salt mines.
Yep. So
I'm near White Sands. Wonder why it's white.
It's not salt.
Bunch of piles of salt out there. I mean, it's a good trek out, but I mean, if you're at that stage, you're gonna make some caravans for things.
How come they got all them signs around telling you not to take the salt?
Yeah.
Or not to take the sand? I mean,
yeah.
They can't lose all that sand one handful at a time.
Yeah, it is a lot of gypsum out there too. Brass Tard mentioned we actually have a gypsum mine near where I'm at. We have white dust like you wouldn't believe around this place.
Yeah, out there at White Sands, my dad took me out there because he lived in New Mexico, and you go out to the White Sands and there's every 4 feet. Don't take any sand. Leave the sand where it is. But what do? I took sand.
You bastard.
Yeah, and that's why he got radiation poisoning.
We're going to send the New Mexico Rangers after you, Will. You're in
All right.
trouble now.
Bring them on down.
Let's see how it happens on the side chat with this. If Howie was still in here, Howie'd be all over this stuff. Great stuff.
It is. I got a bottle of that up in the cupboard.
Yeah. And now, salt mines. I just saw this. Nevada, I believe, has some salt mines that they've converted to store something else now.
Oh, there's a pile of really nice salt mines all over the country. Amazing things.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about Salt Lake City, with the Great Salt Lake. That's nice and salty, but then there's also down in Southern California, there's a lake called Salton Sea. It's really salty.
That is not a good place to be. Water is so poisonous the birds die off in it.
Yeah, that's so salty. Okay, hang on. Okay, we got something here.
Yep.
Iodized salt does have an expiration date. So what happens to the iodized salt when it goes bad? What is it just losing the iodine in it, or is it turning into something? Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know about that one. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Back to this here. Starch going to be converted into sugars, yes, because that's what your body does. Your body converts starches into sugars. Yeah, so that's probably something if your climate allows you to grow it, is grapes. Because grapes, grape juice is really healthy for you. Grape leaves are good in salads because they're all the antioxidants in that plant. And then from the grape juice, you also make the wine, get alcohol, that convert that into vinegar.
Might want to have some yeast on hand in your preps too.
All right, let me check something up over here real quick here. What happens when shoot? I forgot how to spell that. Oh, there it is.
ODIZED.
Iodized salt goes bad. That is something we really should know. Okay, salt. That's just regular salt. I want iodized salt. There we go. Effects of using expired iodized salt. Let's see what we have here. We may have some interesting information here, maybe. Okay. Okay. This is extravagant. Blah 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 blah. Table salt. Also caking. All right. Let me bring this up here, and we talk about. Let me enlarge this. So it's readable. Okay. Table salt is processed from mines, from sodium chloride, also the other final crystals. compared to sea salt. Potassium iodine is an added to make iodized salt, which is very important for preventing thyroid problems from iodine deficiency. Also, an anti-caking agents are added to prevent salt from absorbing moisture from the air and clumping, which makes it walk through. In other words, but not have an expiration date. Okay, it's not saying anything bad about iodized salt. So if someone can find some information about why iodized
Night,
salt
Mrs.
is
Mel.
bad, I would sure like to know it. So I've heard that too, but I've never seen any data on why is iodized salt, become how it becomes bad.
It turns red and then turns into the blob.
I thought that was cranberry juice. The old cranberry sauce stuff from Christmas time, 3 years old, and it just starts growing out of the fridge.
No, remember, cold free stops it. It's heat that makes it run.
Ah.
Oh, by the way,
you found out with the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, I can't find anything on here specifically about saying that iodized salt expires. But
well, remember, guys, in terms of prepping, you got to be very careful because diarrhea is genetic. It runs in the genes.
All right.
Get for that one.
Okay.
You tried to duck out on that one.
He finally got it.
Oh, bad.
All right, I got to go put my kid to bed.
All right. All righty. 50 tons of red. What is it? 50 tons.
Oh, I got a couple laughs in the chat for that one.
All right.
It took
So
him some time to get it too. Did you notice that?
for me to get it, no, I got it right away. I was just figuring what I was going to do about it. All right, you're in timeout. Okay, you can come back now. That was something that Dave and I learned last night playing around with the things, how to do that. All right. So evidently it looks like we're going to have the price is going to drop in red wine vinegar. So folks, keep an eye on the prices. When it drops, time to buy it.
Red wine vinegar.
Yeah.
You can't drink it.
No, cooking with it. Oh yeah, cook with it. My son uses it, red wine vinegar with when he does the meats and stuff. Also, he adds a little bit of it to the spinach.
Spinach is good, yeah.
Oh man, spinach is awesome. Well,
okay. So Bottom Dollar Outdoors has a good question here. How did anyone survive before we had iodized salt? Basically, I'm trying to remember. There are certain. I wish Howie was in here. Howie explained it to me once, and there are certain plants that naturally produce or draw the iodine out of the soil.
Lima beans.
Lima beans, and there's something else I will eat. I will not eat.
I got a little link on this. 1 second, I'll dig it up for you guys.
Yeah, I don't like. As my mom used to call them, oh, they're just little fairy pillows. You can eat them.
Fairy pellet.
That's what you called lima beans. Little fairies in the garden, which you use, And I would not touch them after that.
Okay.
Oh, so there it is. Anthony says dark leafy greens.
Seaweed, kelp, nori. Actually, cod, the fish, is high in iodine. Many dairy products have a good amount of iodine.
Yeah.
Yogurt especially. Interesting.
Yogurt?
Interesting. Shrimp is high in iodine. Tuna. Eggs can also be a good source of iodine. Interesting.
Yeah.
If the chickens are fed a vegetarian diet.
Which means they get it from the dark leafy greens.
Yeah. Prunes and plums. Okay. So there's some suggestions, everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, there are other ways to get iodine. And it was a very good question, Bottom Dollar. Very good question.
Here's a good easy one. Potatoes with the peels on them.
That was the other one he talked about. He was talking about the purple potatoes and the other ones like that.
Yeah, you can get 40% of your daily dose of iodine out of one medium-sized baked potato.
Cool.
One medium-sized.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know. That is really good to know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us would eat potatoes.
Yeah. And some people even make the mashed potatoes with the skins, in it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the
Yeah, so keep the skins on.
the skins. They got lots of vitamins in them.
Yeah. My wife likes doing the mashed potatoes, with all the stuff in it, eat it all out and take a little extra butter inside of it, roll it up and eat it, the skin.
Dark leafy greens, yeah. So I guess beet tops will also have a good amount of iodine.
Mm.
And I like sauteed beet tops.
Okay, so there are a lot of ways to get your iodine without having to have iodized salt. What's that? Lack of iodine. It's probably a lot like blah, 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 blah. It was probably like a lot of problems with poor diet, not eating stuff they should be eating. Now, what's interesting is I saw how on one of those how it's made things about fish sticks. They use a lot of cod in fish sticks.
Most of them are made out of cod.
Yeah. So yeah. So hey, fish sticks is probably a source of iodine. Check the package. See if they even listed on there. They should. A prepper told me you can't take those iodine tablets if you have a thyroid condition. Can anybody tell me that's true?
What's the question?
Let me throw it up here. I'm trying to remember who it was. Their wife had their thyroid removed, and they're in one of the chats. Was it Tibor?
I think it was Tibor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tibor is in the medical industry. He's going to know some of that stuff.
Yeah, and his wife. I think his wife had to have her thyroid removed or whatever. And it's in Dave's Southern Ohio Prepping's live stream on January 15th with Doc Bones and Nurse Amy. That's where he brought it up in, because they were talking about the iodine and stuff back then with Doc Bones and Nurse Amy. Yeah, only non-real men think their fish sticks are gay. I'm poking Tyler. He said fish sticks are gay.
Hi, Tyler.
Walk in on.
Okay, so what arises from that is something called iodine poisoning. So when you have too much iodine, and if you have a lack of a thyroid, because the thyroid is what uses iodine the most, you're far more susceptible to iodine poisoning. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know this. So it looks like that's most likely true, Elizabeth. Interesting.
Okay, and so we got a little thing here going on about what I've got there. Elizabeth was saying that someone was trying to argue and tell her that they're the same thing. All right. So I've heard they word a little bit different. So.
Yeah, see, I have potassium iodide tablets. Those are for if right Pat goes, and I need protection.
Yeah. Yeah, sour cream or butter. The buttercream buttermilk stuff for pancakes. Yeah, it had that little tangy, like almost sourdough taste to it.
Yuck. No buttermilk. Couldn't stand it when I lived on a farm. Still can't stand it.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a really good point. Is if we're talking, SHTF, having to survive and what we have and all that. Unfortunately, a lot of us need to work on the skill of, okay, I may hate this, but I got to eat it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
All right. So here, Anthony put up the answer on the iodide question there.
Yeah, you talk to your doctor for sure, Elizabeth, on that
Yes,
question.
exactly. That's a medical question. I think I know the answer, but I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to give you bad information.
Exactly.
But if you go back and because that was part of the questions talked about with Doc Bones and Nurse Amy on the 15th, so you can review that live on Southern Ohio Prepping. They talked a little bit about the iodine, the medicines, and stuff like that, and how it works and stuff. But yeah, I would talk to your doctor specifically when next time you need to get a prescription filled and say, hey, I need to know more about this. Should I not be doing using iodine salt, or should I? What should I be and not be doing? Get a little bit more information on that. Of course, they'll probably tell you to cut back on salt, anyways. That's what they all seem to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a guess, but I'm a guess. I don't want to. I don't want to speculate. Someone take my advice and get hurt.
Yeah.
Right. Let me readdress Mrs. Elizabeth here since I got interrupted. Tibor's wife has no thyroid. And so Tibor asked Doc Bones about that. And Doc Bones went into about a 3-minute dissertation on that. So I don't remember exactly at what point. I think it was toward the middle of the program, but you'd probably want to start watching it from the start. But it is covered in that program.
Yeah.
And I will have them again on this coming Wednesday as well.
Yeah, but definitely ask your own doctor to see what they think.
All right. And Anthony says the same thing. His mom has no thyroid as well.
And that's actually something I've been we learned that if you have no thyroid, if you don't take the thyroid medication, it is eventually deadly. And so, like, two groups that are going to be I'd love to find an answer are people with thyroid issues, and then people that diabetes. Those are hard problems to solve right now. I mean, go on, Gil.
Real quick here on that. That was part of what Doc Bones and Nurse Amy were talking about. Okay, they are medical preppers. They are preppers, and so they talk about that. But Howie was talking about the diabetes portion.
Howie's channel, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Howie is diabetic, but he has not taken any medicine in years because of his diet has helped correct the problem of his diabetes.
Hold on.
That's the problem in our society. We eat too much friggin' sugar. I'm guilty of it.
Well, type 1, the genetic one's a real ugly one because they're just born with it.
Yeah, but he talked about the different vegetables and stuff which help the body compensate and give you the proper things your body needs to process stuff in the proper way and to develop and to produce the proper amount of insulin and stuff. It's a lot of it is all about diet, and we've screwed ourselves over the last 100 years with our bad diet.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I'll put on my tinfoil hat for a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if later sometimes there's a leak and we find out information that the food industry has been altering the food to make it more addictive with certain sugars and stuff like that. So you just eat. Mm-hmm. But there's my tinfoil hat idea for the day.
You're not too far off. There's back in 1850, Brigham Young made the statement, about when they started to plant the sugar beets in Utah. He goes, yes, it's a necessary evil. Because there was some reason that why they needed the sugar.
Hang on, Elizabeth.
But he called it a necessary evil that was going to cause problems later on. So there's a historical quote from you. That's bad, Tyler. Oh.
Army of diabetics.
Why they needed the sugar. But he called it a necessary evil that was going to cause.
Oops, someone's got an echo.
Yeah.
Sorry. Elizabeth, there's a link for you. Sorry about that, guys.
No, I know when you pop back in, it can start playing on you, and you're like, stop.
You're sitting there mashing the button, and it's not doing anything. Then it keeps on and off.
Let me go take care of it. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. So just click the stop cam. There you go.
Yeah, that link is to the video with Doc Bones and Nurse Amy.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Nobody tells them how stupid that diet really is. You know, they got these people who are born stupid skinny going on there saying, I lost 80 pounds on this. Look at me now. The problem is they never actually had those 80 pounds in the first damn place.
Yeah. The problem with this is there are too many people. Make sure he's not here. Okay. Yeah, my son-in-law included, who read these stupid things on the internet, and these people, this is the newest greatest diet, and it's going to help you do this. Oh, by the way, you can buy this stuff from me. But yeah, and he's gone on a lot of weird, stupid. I mean, I could, I would like to say stupid blankety blank 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 blank, dumb blankety blank 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 diets. And yeah.
Well, just tell us how you really feel, Gil. Just tell us how you really feel.
All right. The way I really feel is, okay, you just forgot. I just flashy thingied you. You just forgot what I said. And that way, I also flashy thingied the YouTube analytics. So it's AI is going, what? Yeah, this is my neuralizer from Men in Black. Those of you who don't know about it.
Yes,
wait a minute. Okay, you're all going to forget I have a neuralizer.
Now I have a headache. Thank you.
Sorry. Wait, here, let me do it again. I'll make your headache go away. All right. Yeah, gluten-free diets are bad for people that don't have a gluten allergy or a gluten intolerance. Gluten is a natural part of food. Just like some people are allergic to honey.
Poor people. They don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. There's there's just certain things that people are allergic to, and if everybody eliminates that from their diet, it screws the whole population up. And I can't remember who it was. I can tell you they were from the South Bay, which is down around San Jose. The parents had the kid on a gluten-free diet, saying, "Oh, it's bad for gluten. He has an allergy and stuff." Well, when he was at scout camp, he accidentally ate a bunch of stuff with gluten in it, and guess what? It didn't bother him. What happened was he'd eaten something before, and he had a food poisoning, and the parents assumed it was a gluten reaction. Never took the kid to the doctor.
Well, just tell the kid not to eat the doggone Tide Pod in the first place. You won't have an issue.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at 7:00.
Yeah.
All right, and you're starting in half an hour on your more happy, feel good live stream.
Yeah, jokes, face palms, whatever. We're not talking about anything negative. If it's brought up, I'll politely ignore it. No disrespect meant, but let's just try and have one night this week where it's all fun and games and nothing serious.
Okay, so you're gonna
Ooh,
need
I
to
should come by
step
with
out
the
of here.
dad jokes.
Hey, bring them. I don't have your email, or I'd send you a link, so I'll send a link to Gil, and he can forward it to you.
Well, if you look in his copy, my email is in the pile. Like if you look at who all he sends them to, mine's in there's MOI Media.
Okay.
MOI
Well, what
Media.
then I'll do is
Yeah.
I'll just reply to all in his email, and everybody.
Yeah, that works too.
Or you can look in all those ones I send out. I usually send him a link to our Mondays, so when he's
Yeah.
not working, he can come in.
Dave, when are you gonna step out in about 10 minutes or so, or 15 minutes, or?
I'm going to step out in about 5 because I didn't make me a pot of coffee because my coffee pot, somebody drank all my damn coffee. I don't know who it was, but when I find him, I'll wring their damn neck.
Is Charles bouncing off the walls?
No, he's in bed. I had to
Okay.
strap him down, but he's in bed.
Yeah.
He went by himself.
He has no choice. Walk up on me when I've got that look in my eyes. You walk away too. He once tried to take a piece of my cheesecake. He found out real fast how mean Daddy can be. You don't touch my cheesecake.
All right.
Because Lori's not here and she hates cheesecake.
Oh, really? I didn't know Lori hated cheesecake.
Yeah, I told her she's fired. She's no longer my cook.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. I this gets to a pet peeve of mine, and it was funny. I can't remember who it was. It was a big name actor who has the same pet peeve, and he was telling all the other actors, "We have no business telling. We are not medical experts. We are not political experts. We are actors. That's what we do. We have no knowledge of what the real world is like. We need to stop making commentary on it."
But
And
the problem is,
Well, it doesn't help that all the people out there think that these people are, because they're rich and famous, that they should know more about life than them. I don't get that.
I live next to a few.
They get paid money to convince you of that.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I've been so happy I cut the cord long ago. Boy.
yeah.
What's really sad is you'll get these actors and actresses who have a following of people, and there'll be people who are 85, 90 years old, and these actors come up, we need your help. Send us your money to go benefit this charity. And these people who can't buy the medication they need as it is to live are sending them $50, $100, $150, $200. And 90% of that money the actor doesn't actually get sent to the charity in the first damn place.
Oh yeah, I have an issue with a lot of those charities. You look at how much money actually goes somewhere; it's horrible, horrible.
Yeah.
Pennies.
Yeah. There's only, I think, like 3 charities in the United States where the people running the charity are there on a volunteer basis. They get no money.
Mm-hmm.
Where you take another one like Red Cross, the guy's making $180,000 to be the chairman of Red Cross.
Well, then it's like my other favorite one to pick on lately has been the NRA. Oh yeah, Wayne, how much money are they paying you? Anyways, let's not get too negative here.
Yeah. All right. So, Anthony, if you need help learning how to make cheesecakes, my 20-year-old son will help you. He makes a whole bunch of them. He has like 5 or 6 different sizes of the spring molds.
I'm sorry, I'm cheap. I go to Walmart, buy the box kits, and just make them that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, my kitchen's so doggone small. If I want to change my mind, I have to turn around and smack my nose in the refrigerator first.
Yeah, that Goodwill's the other one where the guy's making way too much money.
Mm.
Yeah, way too much money.
I'm gonna have to look at that. I don't know much about that one. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Millions.
Yes.
Wow.
Millions off of free stuff.
Yeah, off of Goodwill.
And what really irritates me is I had to do some community service up there when I was, unemployed and before I got my disability. So I had to go do something in order to get food stamps so I could feed Charles. And I had to do some community service at Goodwill. So I got an unfortunate look at what actually goes on in the back. You go donate something. Then the donation is brought inside the back room. And people with learning disabilities are forced to sort it, and they make $1.50 to $2 an hour to do that. That's all they get paid. Not the whole, we do this to benefit these people. Bull crap. Be nice and not swear, but
Yeah. Okay. All right. We got a general consensus out here.
Goodwill sucks.
That's hard to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't that hard to say it. I said it pretty easy, actually. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
I'd rather give to a church that doesn't have a secondhand store yet so they can start one. Because that's a church that actually probably does need the help.
All righties. Okay. Okay, so what do we got here? Goodwill and citizens. Oh.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
700 grand.
I'm going to be his substitute for 1 year.
No, I'll just take the bottom number and I'll go buy me a house up in Michigan and be happy.
Well, the reason I want to be a substitute for 1 year, so I can not only buy the house, I can get the good tractor, I can get the Willapina put in, I can get totally set up so I'm 100% off grid and self-sustained, and I can get my 10-year worth of dehydrated food to hold me over in case there's a bad year.
Mm-hmm.
For
Or two.
$100,000, I can find a place up in Michigan, put in a full solar array, go off grid, and still have about 40,000 left over.
Mhm.
You just got to know where to shop.
Yeah.
And where I want to go, the house is, a nice 2-bedroom, single floor house for me and Charles. Look right off a river, Chippewa River up there. It's about 38 to 40,000. And I only need an acre of land for me and Charles.
Man. Oi.
All right. Yeah. All righty. Let's put this back on a happier note, folks.
Sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns.
Which one? Are we gonna go cheer dancing now?
Now let's talk about one more final thing on supplies. The one thing we haven't talked about, guys, we talked about food and water stuff.
Pew pew.
Clothing.
Oh,
What was that?
Clothing.
Oh, clothing, yeah.
All right. If we're in a situation where there is a SHTF or a Tawaki situation where industry is shut down and it's going to be 10, 15 years before they get industry back up and running, how long are those jeans going to last you?
Not just that, your shoes. Oh,
Shoes.
I'm brutal on shoes because
Yeah.
I walk everywhere.
Yeah.
But I've got pairs of jeans I've had 8, 9 years now that
Yeah.
are still in good shape.
They won't last 8 or 9 years in SHTF.
that's gonna be the problem is walking through stuff. When I'm working outside, I tear them up so bad.
Well, here's the suggestion. With those jeans you're tearing up, what are you doing with them?
I save mine to make quilts.
Quilts, okay? But in an SHTF situation, make sure you have plenty of heavy-duty thread and needles.
Patch.
You can cut them up and patch up the other pairs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then there's a skill which is going to need to be learned. And I know a lot of the women out here are going to say, you guys need to learn it too. And they are right. How to darn socks and repair and to sew and everything as well. Because after, in the wintertime when it's short days and you're inside, hey, there's a lot of clothes that can be patched, sewn up and everything else. Why should the women folk have to do all that?
Well, also, and tailoring our clothes, resizing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you can also for people with kids, you're going to have to adapt clothes for different, as they get bigger and then giving clothes to the little ones and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, see, if SHTF happens tomorrow, the only thing I'm grabbing out of Walmart is heavy duty cloth and stuff. Because Charles is growing so damn fast, I won't be able to sew fast enough to keep him in clothes.
Yeah.
In 1 second here.
Yeah, when our family had like no money, and we were in the growing like crazy, they would literally find clothes that were like a couple sizes too big because they knew we'd get into them very quickly.
Yeah, my mom taught me how to sew when I was 7. She also tried teaching me how to knit and crochet, and that failed miserably. Sewing I
Yeah.
did okay. Knitting and
Yeah.
crocheting, nah,
Yeah.
it was too boring.
All right. Tyler's little. The age of the cobbler was a great advancement for humanity. Learning how to make shoes.
Cobbler?
Real denim, not fake. Yeah, I got some old Levi's that are too skinny for me. Of course, in that situation, I'm probably going to wind up not having any sugar and losing all the weight and getting back down to a 30-inch waist.
Isn't cobbler that stuff that's either got peaches or blueberries or apple in it?
No, that's close.
Well, there's a reason why we say we cobbled something together.
All right. Now, years ago, I noticed, and I'm not talking years, I'm talking like 30 plus years ago, I noticed that the all cotton socks I used to get weren't holding up like they used to. And so basically a few years ago I changed things up, but I started getting these.
Darn tough.
Oh, holy
No.
cow.
Oh yeah,
wool.
I have those too. Yeah.
The wool socks.
Can't wait.
Right? These are lasting 3 times as long at least as my cotton socks were. What made me realize that is I was digging through my drawers and I realized all the heavy duty wool socks I had, these are from when I was a teenager. They're still in good shape, and I wore the heck out of them through my 20s.
Well, there's inflation at work. Them making it seem like it's the same product but cutting back.
Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, so these, the only problem I found out with these is after about 10 washings, they start getting a little snug, and I got to stretch them back out, and I can't dry them as dry as they need to be. I got to take them out of the dryer sooner and run my hand through them, make a fist, and pull out to stretch it out and just let it air dry. And then when I go to put them on, they're the right size again. But my wife has another pair, another bunch she's been buying for me. The more expensive, made in America, 100% made in America wool ones that are even better than these others. And I can't remember the name. It's Woolsmith or something like that. And
I like the Darn Tough brand myself. I've really gotten, they're real thick and heavy duty.
Yeah.
To keep my wool from shrinking, I generally just wash them on the perm press cycle.
Uh-huh.
And that's been working really well.
Yeah, where's the thing here?
All right, I'm going to bounce and get my
Yeah,
stuff.
Cabela socks are pretty good.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh. The Carhartt. There we go. Here's a pair. For my cowboy boots, I got the Carhartt wool boot socks. These things are really nice too. And, they don't wear out. I've had, put them back over there. I've had maybe 4 pair that I've wore over the last 8 years for my cowboy boots, and they're still really good shape. So wool is a lot sturdier and heavy duty. So guess what that means we got to do?
We need to raise sheep.
Raise sheep. And you want to know something? What was the underwear that a lot of people wore back in the 1800s, 1700s, and even into the 1900s? Wool long johns. Of course, they also separated the good wool out. There, Anthony threw it up there. Alpaca.
Alpaca, yeah.
Alpaca is a soft, durable wool. It's stronger than the sheep wool, and it's a lot softer. Oh yeah.
See you, John Bean.
All right, John Boonbean. Have fun. Take care. ruins ruins them. Yeah, 5%. Tyler's saying if you have wrong one, that one above it, and it's supposed to be ruins them. But you get some of the synthetics in there, and it just ruins them. Dan Marino wool socks are good too. I have some Dan Marino wool long johns. And actually, I was wanting to raise alpaca here just to sell off the wool and stuff. But, it turns out that morning glory is very poisonous to them. And there's a lot of morning glory on my property.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't want to spray a ton of herbicide to try to kill the morning glory that has roots that goes down 10, 15 feet. That's going to come back in 2 years. Angora rabbit fur, yeah. But there is a lot of natural fiber stuff out there that we can use for clothing. But don't forget, for the clothing, what I was thinking about when I mentioned it was you have winter clothes, summer clothes. They can bleed over a little bit for spring and fall, but there's a lot of stuff that we need to consider. Shoes, socks, jeans, shirts, jackets, rain gear, hats. You've all seen that tannish, dirty, creamy colored cowboy hat I have. I got that in 1979. That was 5X beaver wool, beaver felt. So that hat has held up. I mean, I've worn the heck out of it. The band's gone on the inside. I still wear it. So there's certain things we need to get. We need to get clothing that's not disposable.
Plus, we have to get used to the idea of realizing that in the old times, people had clothing, far less clothes than we do today.
Oh, yeah. Which means the Kardashians are going to be screwed because they can't have 2 rooms of clothes. I'm sorry, a thought just popped in my mind. Gilligan's Island.
There you go. Same outfit every day.
Well, no, it's like Ginger always had different outfits, all not designed for that environment.
That show is so funny.
It's just like, but it was so much, there was actually so much truth about some of the things that, in an SHTF or Tawaki environment that you were going to have to do, but they made it comical. About ways to re-energize the batteries. Those were based on scientific truth, and how to create artificial natural batteries. Using the fruits to create electrical circuit. But what's about talking about here? Hang on, Dora Rabbit. In southern climates, wore linen, cotton, wool. Gotta throw for bottom with them too. Bottom. Okay, he's talking about, I guess, the rabbits. Your messages are disappearing again. What the heck? If you try to put anything with like a link to anything, Elizabeth, it's going to disappear. But I don't see any. Generally on my yard stream, anything that gets typed in there stays. Okay, that message stayed in YouTube. Oh, morning glory is poisonous to certain animals. It's especially poisonous to alpacas. As is buckwheat.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that about buckwheat.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was checking on to see with the neighbors to find out what we had growing around here. And, I said, no, you don't have any buckwheat that has been growing on that property. But the morning glory, when I looked it up, is poisonous to, and it's also poisonous to geese and chickens, but generally they won't eat it. Unfortunately, alpacas will eat morning glory.
That's really interesting. Okay, cool tip, Gil.
Yeah. But, you want to learn a little bit about alpacas, or as they love to call them, donkey poodles.
Donkey.
Donkey.
Daniel Arms, and actually it's DJ Arms has the donkey poodles on their Arms family homestead, and even have shirts made up saying Donkey Poodle Ranch.
Oh, that's
But,
hilarious.
yeah.
A lot of those kids grow them up and put them in 4-H shows,
Yeah.
So is their logo? We don't drag our asses.
But yeah, alpacas was something I really wanted to get into, but because of what our land here has done, goats are fine. Goats can eat morning glory. Goats can eat anything. They can eat tin cans. They can eat
when I was in my 40s, I was really considering getting into doing an ostrich farm, so I could sell the feathers and sell the meat off to those big restaurants back east on the East Coast.
Yep.
And eggs. One egg will feed an army of 12, right?
Yeah. Breakfast. 1 egg for breakfast. 1 egg for lunch. 1 egg for dinner. Oh yeah. Okay. Here's something. Yeah. If you have some, even if it's not a high-end thrift stores.
That's a good point, Elizabeth.
Sometimes the people will they'll just drop it down at the local thrift store, or they'll have a thing like if back in California there was a thrift store for the juvenile hall, and people think, oh, those poor boys and girls, we're going to donate this to help them get better, and they drop expensive stuff off there, and unfortunately, wound up getting somebody in there who knew what things were worth and jacked the prices up on everything. Yeah.
Sheep are bad, Anthony. They'll tear up everything. They're one hard-headed animal.
Sheep?
Yep.
Oh, it depends how you raise them and what's done. Because the sheep around here, I've seen, at least the breed of sheep they have around here. I mean, it's lightning. They're out there just grazing along, looking up, and the sheepdog is just standing there next to them. They look over, sheepdog there, no danger.
I've seen them go through fences. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They're just a hard-headed breed.
Hey, Mary. Yeah. Yeah. So that's for me. That would probably be one of the things to try to raise would be sheep, alpacas. If I had land that didn't have the stupid morning glory on it, and enough. That would give clothing, and then beef cows, leather, and what's
I'm gonna. Sorry, Gil.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of something. So the mother that can be used to make apple cider vinegar and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You can harvest it and turn it into an artificial leather. I recently learned.
Ah.
Yeah, I gotta do a whole thing on that eventually.
What did you say? What can be artificial leather?
The mother that makes things like apple cider vinegar and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Guys, we're getting close to the end here. Dave is getting ready to start up, so hang on a second here. Hey, Howie, where were you? I needed you in here before when we were talking about diabetes and talking about thyroids and stuff. Okay, we're getting ready here. We're going to wrap it up here. In 3 minutes, Dave goes live. And Southern Ohio Prepping, there it is. I'm going to pull it up right now and give everybody the link here. Because Dave has made it live here. Come on, let's go. Bingo, there we go.
What?
Okay. Yeah. So it starts in 2 minutes and 19 seconds over there in Southern Ohio Prepping. There's the link for it. I'm going to eat real quick before I jump over there. Okay. Texas cattle are planned for a homestead. Oh, there's up in North Idaho. One of the things has is it North County Off Grid, or one of the ones up there. It's one of the channels I follow up there. Has the Scottish cows, and those suckers they have thicker leather and
long hair.
Yeah, the Scottish ones, yeah. But they're up there. So there's the link to Dave's channel there. And here in Southeast Idaho, we're close to Montana, and Montana has a lot of buffalo. And that's something else I'd like to see about getting or hunting when I can hunt them, because the leather on the buffalo hide is a lot thicker than cow leather.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got to make the Indians, when they made their leather moccasins, they used the thick part of the buffalo hide for the soles of their moccasins.
Actually, that's a good point. Is a lot of shoes, when made the old way, you have to use leather for the sole, not rubber, because rubber is so rare and hard to come by.
Yeah, of course, in an SHTF and everything really breaks down there. Maybe, and we're all out of gas there. Maybe a lot of tires on the road to go make great sandals from and stuff. All righty, I'm going to go ahead and kill it here. Thank everybody for coming by, and everybody, let's head on over to Southern Ohio Prepping, and he's going to try to run a nice happy. Yay, everything's good. We're not talking about coronavirus. We're not talking about Virginia. We're not talking about Democrats. We're not talking about whatever else. All righty. So there was the link up there. Head on over, and I'll see you over there.
See you, everyone.
All right.